Bless you. We are here at the embassy for Word Up, and I want you to get ready. We're going to tap into some things tonight. Where we're going to touch the heart of God. Well, we want Him to touch our heart, and hopefully we can touch His heart. I want y'all to meet Andrew. This is Drew, and he is up here. His little
His name is not Andrew.
I mean Drew. You hear his mama. His name is not Andrew. Drew. And Drew is here with me, having a good time. His brother used to be with me all the time in the pulpit, but his brother started growing up and being bad. So he ain't a bad kid. He just starting to be a kid. And so we have his little brother here with him and introducing him to the pulpit. Anyhow, we're gonna. I thought I was done talking about the family, but we're gonna do some more talking tonight. We're gonna touch on some mental aspects, mental health for the family. I think we have to understand a few things. Then we'll talk and have a discussion towards the end. All right. Want you to just keep in mind, Bishop Brian Keith Hodges will be here with us on this coming Saturday, Shabbat, at 10 in the morning, and it is going to be incredible. He's an incredible speaker, and so I'm looking forward to him being here. And okay, now he done start talking. Hey, he done start talking, so we gonna let him take his little departure. Come on. There you go. All right. So we're going to hear Bishop Brian Keith Hodges this weekend, and he's an incredible speaker. Today, so many things happen, and I just got so many things on my plate. So I'm grateful that God trusts me, but we're making great changes here at the embassy. I want y'all to keep Cecilia in prayer. Her cousin, he died today, so we want to keep Cecilia in prayer. She had a cousin to die today, and Chanel, if y'all remember Chanel, we did the funeral back a few days ago for her son. We want to keep her other son, the one who was in the wheelchair. He died, and so he just died less than 2 weeks. So it's less than 2 weeks apart, and so we want to keep her in prayer. And go on. And amen. This is a weird season, but we want to go on ahead and keep her in prayer. Now, I want to, going into this, I spent a lot of time trying to talk to the men and kind of galvanize some thought around rising up, taking your rightful seat, coming into places of authority. And when you do, knowing how to be strategic, intentional, some of those things. So y'all saw me with a lot of those slides that were done. I was told today that I could have done my own slides. I'm going to do my own because I think this is cool. But the reality of it is those hit me so fast, and I grabbed them. And they have been a blessing. Several men have hit me and asked me to please send them the slides. So I've sent them and shared them with them. One said he go get a tattoo with one of them on there. So I'd rather that than a naked woman or something like that. Amen. He's looking at purpose. And so that is where we're headed. But I want you to catch this. I don't believe that a man should be beat up. Neither do I believe that a woman should be beat down, right? So that woman and that man are very important to the family. There was a time, and I'm speaking about the black community right now, where 85% of our marriages stayed together. Do y'all know that? 85%. We're somewhere like 20% now. It's a disaster. It just turned upside down, which makes me, there is such evils in the earth called hatred. Um, Prejudice can be hateful. It's not always hateful, but to be prejudiced means to prejudge, make a decision beforehand, right? And then there is racism and all of those things. They kind of exist. And guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to go nowhere because you pass a bill, right? You put policy in place that gives everybody an opportunity to advance and to become, correct? You don't expect everyone to be equal because everyone's not equal, correct? All right? And I don't want to be equal with everybody. I want to shine my light, right? So here's where we are. We have been so engaged or engulfed in this whole racism issue until when racism don't exist, we don't know how to define it. We call a white person that won't speak to us, we say they racist. Or we call this over here racist. Or we say a statement that was made is racist. And I want y'all to capture this. The reality of it is that everything is not racist, right? Sometimes it's just pure evil. And it has nothing to do with what color you are, because they would do it to the same color that they are. Think about the young man who just killed up all the his own, he's Hispanic, and that young boy, 18 years old, go out and he shoots those who are like him. He shoots children who are Hispanic, right? You have all of that going on. You got so many different things going on, and we misdefine things. And what you do is when racism really do occur, you have now made it so weak because you made everything racism. Somebody didn't give you a cheesecake, you're a racist. You know, somebody didn't do this, you're a racist. And the whole system is designed to just keep telling you that we're racist and so forth. I want you to understand why I'm saying this, because everybody has an opportunity to advance. And advance has nothing to do, honestly, with racism. I think about, all our forefathers, just maybe a generation and a half ago, 2 generations ago, how when slavery was over, they barely even talked about it. They got to work. They started building, and they started advancing. There were some white racists who couldn't handle it, because don't forget, they were the builders. They were the inventors. They were the creators. The slaves now took the role of being so educated to how to build a city, a country, and stuff like that. They just didn't have all the education on stuff like economics and different things like that. But the reality of it is, it didn't stop them. Farming, just think. Who could do agriculture better than them? You following? And what we began to do is get hoodwinked, and instead of continuing down that path, we pulled into a mindset of blame while we stayed low. And we started falling into the trap of losing family. The whole idea of family. We became our own slaves, enslavers. So can you imagine enslaving yourself into your own personal slavery? Am I making sense? And then what came about was this whole post-traumatic PTSD. What is that? Post-traumatic stress disorder. And I saw it the other day, post-traumatic slave disorder. Slave disorder. Yeah, and I don't understand that, because, you stop and you look at Mother Doris, 83 years old, right? Moving about just like she's 25. While she's moving about, I've never heard Mother complain about racism. Not me. I've never heard her complain about, like, you know what them white folk doing. Now, she's older. If anybody should have a vibe or feeling about that, wouldn't it be her? Okay, her husband died. They didn't divorce, right? He died. That should be the only thing that separates a family, a husband and a wife. Y'all following me? Till death do us part. Y'all following this concept? And what is that? There was something that was going on in those days that was inputted or imparted into us that kept us going forward. We can criticize the families. We can say, oh yeah, family secrets, and we got to get out of that. Sometimes you need to keep some secrets. Y'all follow? Sometimes you need to be some secrets kept. But if letting go of a secret is going to cause division for generations to come, it's not worth it. Become the healer while you maintain a secret. Y'all following this? Some stuff you need to take to your grave. Some stuff ain't worth putting out there for your own selfish gratification. Am I right? Some stuff you got to figure out. Look, it's not worth it to destroy my family. I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about all of those things. I'm talking about if we come into a place of strong mental health, there are some things that we've got to learn to be healed from. Am I telling y'all the truth? There are so many things that just look at somebody and say, be healed. Just be healed. Yeah, just be healed. Because if we keep on down this path, we're going to continue the same old stuff and expect different results. And that's what Einstein says is a definition of insanity. Right? Thinking that it's going to change while you do the same thing. We can mop this floor and think it's going to turn black. And when you saw it didn't turn black the first time you mopped it, you should have said, how am I going to turn this floor black? Right? That's going to take some paint. That's going to take whatever. It's going to take a difference, a change in your thought process, right? Okay, so when we have those things, we kind of, personally, let me just say this. I have some family secrets. Dottie, hey, little girl, come give me a hug. You are not little anymore. Come here. She even got on heels. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Look at her, get her leg up. Good to see you. All right. So, where did I leave off at? Huh? I got some secrets that it's not killing me. And if I was to let it out, it could be destructive. Right? Why don't I get my own personal healing so that I can help people instead of exposing stuff that is old, maybe unintentional? Y'all following this? Now, there's a piece that don't take that as the golden rule. There are certain areas that you've got to understand, that you've got to talk. Okay? And one of the things that have recently occurred in our life in this period has been that the Lord has provided for us men and women who are wise counselors, who will pray with you, who can seek God, but at the same time understand how to mentally approach a thing and speak and communicate. Am I right? So, because what the enemy of the family has been successful in doing, watch me now, is killing generations of wholeness to come by making you think that you are disqualified right now. producing disqualifying things. We got so many things that are coming to kill the generations to come. I'm sorry, but y'all just work with me. We have all kinds of things. Our kids aren't going to produce kids anymore because they're being taught that they're the same sex. So you don't have reproduction. You're not going to have a lot of families with grandchildren anymore. And then they say, well, we'll just adopt. Okay, but then that stops the bloodline. You following this? There's so many things coming against, and we think that it's just God hates homosexuals. No, he doesn't. I am not convinced that homosexuals are going to hell. I'm not convinced like that. You know, I really don't have that conviction. I mean, because what if the homosexual asks God for forgiveness at that moment? Is God going to say, oh, you homosexual? Well, what about the drug addict that asked God for forgiveness? We ready to let the drug addict in. We ready to let this in. You know, whatever this is, we ready to let it in. And then we just got our picks and our chooses to decide, hey, this ain't going in, right? It's not that God, for example, let me break again. You ask questions like, well, God, why is fornication so wrong? Why? I mean, you made us this way. And then, or why is divorce so bad? Stop and think. You have to begin to ask, not just see it as an attack or as a sin. You got to see the result of the action. You got to see what it produces that causes this to be the problem. Y'all following this? So, like, for example, divorce. I used to think, like, God, they don't need to be together. Why do you hate divorce? I mean, he let Moses institute divorce, right? Right? But here's the deal. What they started doing was killing their wives and stuff like that. They was doing what they can to get out the marriage. Are y'all with me? Okay, here's another piece. If I'm married to, Sister Harden over here, right? And she and I are married, and we got 5 children, and I decide irreconcilable differences. She hindering my ministry. Y'all with me? And so I divorce her. And then I find Sister Susie over here. Sister Susie loved the ministry. She might not love God, but she loves the ministry. Maybe not even the ministry, she loves the stage by which I stand upon. Y'all with me? She ain't put in no work. She ain't been there for the breaking of the ground and all the sweating and everything while carrying one of these babies. Are y'all catching this picture? All she did was come to church one day and say, and then decide God said that's her husband, so she proceeded to seduce herself to his pulpit. Are y'all with me? Come on, let's talk. Now I want you to get a picture. I don't want you to just get mad. I want you to get the portrait. Now watch this. Now I done divorced Sister Harden, and my kids are over here mad at y'all. This heifer. I want y'all to get a picture. Y'all following that? Because that's the words, and that's going to be a nice word. Okay? They mad at her, they mad at y'all, and the result is I could lose my children's destiny. Now you see why God hate the divorce? Because of the results that it will bring. That's why. And we sit back and we say, well, I can't judge nobody for nothing. Wait a minute. First of all, if you would have made a judgment, you wouldn't have got married to somebody who is not going to understand where you're going. And you can't make a judgment of a marriage based upon where they are right now. You got to look at where they're going to be. They might be 20 pounds heavier later. Can you look and handle that? Handle that? I mean, you got to really lock in and be like, I need to know if I can be with you then before I get. Can she cook? Or can he cook? Can anybody in the house cook? You following this? Do she have the willingness? Do she like my mama? Do I like her mama? Do I respect her daddy? Y'all following this? It's a lot of dynamics here that will cause you to bring something together in a holistic manner. I wouldn't want this baby to have a bad husband that's going to hit her, right? Okay, so what am I going to do? And everybody doesn't have a father, but I expect those who don't have a father, guess what? I can't be your biological father, but I can sure look out for your soul. Right? And if let's talk. Let me see who this guy is. I mean, I ain't trying to get in everybody's business, and I'm not trying to just be the one that decides whether you should get married and all this kind of stuff. But, hey, have somebody that's going to look out for you, engaged into certain things. You following? Right. Well, you do. But here's the issue, Sharice. That guy who may be a joker won't want you to respect my opinion, so he'll talk you out of receiving my opinion. Not you, but he'll talk you out of, because you would be like, okay, you got to go. But, right. But you following that? It's like the manipulation. And now you don't know because he's saying, well, he a man, he pull up his pants just like me. And that's true, I do. But guess what? I am the covering of a soul. And if I can cover that soul properly, y'all following this? And you got to be careful. I'm not trying to be mean or throw off, but a lot of pastors aren't even qualified because they can't avoid sleeping with the soul. Y'all got me? So it's like today you have to choose character. You can't choose anointing over character. Does that make sense? Did that make sense? Because you'll be stuck in an anointing while they ain't got no character. And there'll be 25 babies roaming around. And the other 10 were aborted. So that they can protect their anointing in their ministry. Y'all hear? So God's idea is the nuclear family. Now, we could talk about several things. We could talk about whether God supports polygamy. We could talk through all of that. But for us, where we're going to put a foundation is right here at this place. The family should be a man and a woman, their children. Right? Okay. God, I hate that I feel like I'm creating something. Because you can say this couple over here, which is same sex, have a family. And to a degree, they do. Right? But the whole point here that I'm making, and let me say I'm speaking exclusively from the model that we would see in the Bible. Okay, let me put it that way. Okay, and so with that said, the whole family structure, and I was pointing to this whole piece right here, has to come to a place of a mindset. And that's why that man is so necessary. I heard a young lady, she was telling off women. She was like, quit treating that man so bad. Quit talking down to him. She was saying positive things, but she made a statement that I disagree with. She said that women are stronger emotionally. I agree. And they're stronger mentally. I disagree. I believe that our strength from a mental standpoint can be on the same playing field. But how you use that mental state can be emotional. And for us, it's logical. You following me? So the woman is not stronger mentally. She's stronger mentally with her emotions. And we're stronger mentally with our logic. You following? So back to this discussion of even like two love languages. How do we get to one love language? How do we two become one? And the two became one, right? How do we two become what? Come on, how do we two become? Right. How do we do that? Well, you get married and the oneness starts. Okay? You have intercourse and the oneness kind of start. But marriage, and if we're doing it the right way, let's say marriage, and it starts there, right? All right. Because that oneness starts there, but you're still individuals who got to figure out how to be one. So you start off in this wedding, the two whom God joined together, let no man put asunder. And you go and you consummate all night or all week or whatever. I can't believe some people don't consummate. That's appalling. Anyhow, the devil is a liar. But watch, the two become what? Come talk. The two become. When they do that after the wedding, guess what they do? They separate in an attempt to try to come one. And that's why they have to develop a mindset. Right? Because we still got two mindsets floating around. Now, that's my husband. I'm sorry. That just didn't feel right. That's my wife. That's my husband, right? But we don't even think alike right now. Irreconcilable differences, right? Instead of saying, let's find that mind space that we have together. Let's develop a mindset. See, y'all need Bible for this? Yeshua, who says the church is his what? His bride, right? He says to his Father, he says, Father, I pray that they will become one just as you and I are. Right? The point is becoming one. So you get married, you come into an agreement that we are going to walk this one thing out. And you began, at that point, you find yourself drifting, and then you start coming together with time. That's why you can't give marriage a time limit. I'm going to try this out for 1 year. Right? See, that's why better decision making has to go in there. Ladies, you got to come. You got to ask these questions like, can this man take care of my house? Can he? Y'all following this? Not can he buy me a new bag? See, we really need to think through a lot of this here. Because sometimes you think that you're loved because you got a new bag. But if that man is smart, he's saying, wait a minute, I'm trying to keep my credit score up and get a down payment so you can have somewhere to put your bag. But if gifts and trinkets define your love for each other, you can be homeless. You can be broke, right? Because there's no mindset shaped. Okay? There has to be a vision, not a division, a division, a vision. It can't be divided. So that's where you got to mentally come in and be like, wait a minute, okay, let's, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, but how do we communicate so that we can become one? So that we can be on the same page. Right? My respect for that woman's genius, and her respect for my genius should put us at a table to develop a vision that causes us to flourish. Right? If we can move in that vein, we won't make a decision to marry somebody because we love them. Love is not enough when you're hungry. Love is not enough when you are feeling abused. Am I right? I do believe something. They'd be like, you know, I love you so much. I love you. And I believe it. I just think they have misguided love. And there's something else I use, PLP, proper love placement. You got me? Everybody say proper love placement. Being able to properly place your love, right? Look, I love everybody in this room, right? But if the only way I define love is through sex, it's now turned into perversion. Right? Because now I'm trying to sleep with you. I'm trying to sleep with you. I'm looking at the baby as a pedophile. And now we calling that love? See how the world is kind of redefining stuff for us? Because now, like, if I find myself loving a child and that's pedophilia, and I get into that, guess what happens? The world is saying, but it's love. We love each other. This is about love. We don't hate each other. There is no hatred here. There is, there's love and there's hate. We can't come to an agreement. We can't this. We can't that. Are y'all following this? I need to learn how to place my love. If every hug turned me on, I'm in trouble. You following this? If I can't distinguish how to give a hug, we're in trouble. So, I don't know how to craft this except for to say we need a way to produce a mindset, right? Before a child comes in, we need to be working on the mindset as to what our family is going to look like when the child comes. What environment are we going to allow this child to come into? I hope y'all catching this. And how can we develop the God-given genius inside of every child we have? How do we do that? How do we nurture their mindset? Do I follow the same model that I've seen? Or do we come together? Watch this. Here's one thing we can do. What's your strength? My strength is ABC. What's your strength? FGH. EFGH. FGHI. Y'all know. FGH. Right? So here we go. How do we develop? These are my strengths and these are my strengths. Guess what's going to be in the kid? Both strengths. Guess what else going to be in the kid? Both weaknesses. So how do we now cultivate an atmosphere that we come together on? Come together on and say, our weaknesses we're going to eliminate. Our strengths we're going to magnify. And we're going to nurture our environment like this. Are y'all here? Mother, you're a musician, right? She used to be a musician. Now watch this. See, Kim is not a musician because she just thought to be a musician. There was an atmosphere that was there that ends up cultivating that in Kim. Are you here? An atmosphere of love. There's no way this baby go hate people. She's not. Dottie is too loving. Y'all follow this? If anybody come and they start trying to mess up that kind of atmosphere, it's going to be crazy. Y'all with me? I'm sorry, I need to answer this call. Y'all wait for me. Just wait. Bishop, I'm going to have to call you back. Are you going to be available when I get done with my Bible class? All right, thanks a lot. Everybody tell Bishop hello. All right. He said, God bless the saints. I can see him with his hand going like this. God bless the saints. Yeah. All right. Talk to you later, man. Bye. And so, y'all with me? Where did I leave off at? It's hard. It's going to be hard for this baby to be racist. It's going to be hard for her for somebody to be mistreated. Because her atmosphere has a cultivating place. It's cultivated with love. And don't mistreat anybody. Y'all with me? How do you do that? If you find that you are a musical, you have music in you, and you may not be able to have gone to the length that you wanted to go. But you know this girl, your wife, she's got it. Your husband, he's got it. That's the strengths. Right? You can say education is our strength. Yours might be science, his might be math, right? How are we going to put it both in there now that we have a math and science genius? Let's build an atmosphere that comes with a mindset, which means now we're working together which causes us to be unified and become one. That making sense? You can't be sitting there talking about that you too hard on them. No, we got to work together because we're building something. The child's going to decide to be lazy one day. Right? You got to be like Angela and just be crazy. That one. She just, well, I ain't letting nothing come in this house with my girl. You following me? Angela, y'all think Angela all sweet and stuff? Let something come in that house and mess with the girls. You'll see a whole southern, y'all will be like, I think the devil done got in her. But it won't be the devil, it'll be her love for her babies. She might go to jail that night. You following what I'm saying? Y'all following this? Kiana over there like, me too. Y'all need to know this. I want you to know. But are y'all following? That is just kind of like the mentality here that you have to cultivate an atmosphere. You can't be sitting up there talking about, I will be heard. I already hear you. This is, you're not thinking about me. We have to develop a unified thought. Because if you and I are thinking the same, guess what I'm thinking about? You. And you're thinking about me. Because we're on the same page. What God has joined together, let no man pull asunder. Can't take it apart when you really put it together as two godly people. Right? There is one mindset. We go be in this marriage, we go be healthy. We go eat healthy. We go, right? Because I want you to remain healthy all your days. Because I need you, you need me. Right? And you don't even have to say it. I don't want you going out and blowing up on me and I'm sitting here thin. Or I blow up on you and you sitting there thin. If we go blow up, we go blow up together. As one. Right? I know I'm making light of that right now. And I don't mean to pick in any kind of fashion. But there is this thing like, can we be healthy together? Can we be smart together? Can we enjoy life together? Can we be apart but never separate? Y'all following? I'm in Memphis and you in California, but we still one. What that will end up doing is stopping me from fooling around on you. And you from looking at Joseph on me. Y'all with me? Because we starting to think too much alike. We get in the same thought pattern. Can you look behind there? It's a power button. Just press it in the opposite direction. All right? Everybody say thinking alike. Let's come to that point. Thank you. That's good. I think. We go think alike. You hit the power button? Okay, perfect. It'll go off. Everybody do it again. Thinking alike. See, the thing is, if we start, I like to say it this way, just work with me, okay? If we start thoughting the way God thought, thoughting with God thought, thoughting, we say thinking, but just my emphasis, okay? Horrible English, great kingdom, okay? If we start thoughting the way God, if we start thoughting God thought, we would see how everything He wants to bring us together. Y'all following? He just wants to duplicate Himself everywhere. Does it make sense? So I'll have not robots, but Romney over here, she's on the west side of town. Dottie over here on the east side of town. And I don't have to worry about them not liking each other because one is white and one is black, because they got my thought. So whenever they come together, we in good shape. Y'all got me? How do we do that? How do we do that for the family? How do we generate that concept? We got to work together. Hey, I'm just going to throw it out and I hope people catch it. But you can't be playing games while the children are being nursed by their mother alone. You need to be in there like, baby, you okay? Watching the lips on the child just sucking milk out. You need to be in there. Okay, you need a towel? Where the towel? I got you. You get what I'm saying? Because see, if you don't see it, chances are you don't understand when she complains. And when she then begins to take ownership of the child, then you feel left out. Because the child is naturally drawn to her breast Especially if you ain't there to hold him or her when the baby child gets done feeding. Does it make sense? I promise you. I promise you. My wife would hate me if she divorced me. Because, first of all, she's not going to have my children. Children coming with me. That's me in the flesh. Don't worry about it. I would not let my children go with my wife. They would have to be raised in my house. Now, she's welcome. I'm serious. I'm so serious. I am so serious. Because I don't believe that all the nourishment, the nurturing comes from her. Because that's milk. And while you should be eating milk, you're still drinking. While you should be eating meat, you're still drinking milk. Make sense? That's just me. Y'all got me? Come here, Cherise. Handle that for me. See, yeah. So while they're drinking milk, they should be eating meat. Say it. So if a child is still milk hungry, if an adult child is still milk hungry, did y'all hear me? Your child is 21 and still trying to get milk. And you lactating. That's what we're seeing right now. That's exactly what's going on. Children, the 21-year-old kid, he out here, I want my mama, and she starts lactating. Not literally, but just imagine. It's a mental thing because there's no strength there to say, boy, sit your behind down and such and such and such and such. You go grow up and be a man. You go grow up and be a woman. And you know what? That voice comes from the father. Because the girl will start wanting to feed on the breast too. She got a whole set herself feeding on her mama still. Are y'all catching this? We grow up. I'm glad she's here. I'm so happy to see her. But she looks just like her mama. She said what? Yeah, it's a metaphor, baby. And so, it would be sad. How old are you, sweetheart? She's 11. At 21, I look at her, and she's still acting like she was when I first met her. That would be sad. That would be sad. And it wouldn't be necessarily her fault. I'd be looking at her mama and her grandmama. I'd be saying, what happened? Y'all know we be making them faces like, what happened? We just try to be nice about it. Well, let's just pray for her. No, like, what happened? Well, it's her father, or it's her mother, or it's Joe. No. What did we do? Did we cultivate a mindset? Like I say when we bless the babies, I always say, I tell the godparents and everybody, now it's time to shift. You had your little fun before, but for the life of this child, watch how you present yourself in front of them. I had to take an Uber today, right? I got in the back seat of the Uber. No, I didn't even get in the car yet. I almost didn't get in the car. I opened the door and got high. It was just weed everywhere, right? Okay, now watch this. Watch this. The way we cultivate our home is like weed stuck up in a car. that when you get in, the fume of it, I hate to say fume because it's not a fume because it's a herb, right? A fume I would think is toxic. Is that right? Y'all smart people help me, right? So the smell of it is still permeating. Now, watch this. The atmosphere was dominated by weed. Everybody that gets in will feel the effects of the atmosphere dominated by weed. I was first furious, and then I had to remember who I was, and there was a soul driving me, and I made a commitment. All right, let me get myself together. She was a young lady. I say, hey, honey, where you from? She says, Ohio. I say, this makes sense. Make a lot of sense. So she says, Ohio. And I said, what brought you here? She told me. And then I said, what church you go to? Well, I go to Creflo Dollar's church. No, World Changers. I say, great church. Wrong smell, great church. This is what I was thinking. I didn't say the wrong smell part. I said, great church. And she says, but I haven't been. I say, well, I'm a pastor, so it's my duty to check on your spiritual, help you gauge your spiritual life, sweetheart. So you really need to get into church. I think it'll help you, right? See, she was a cute young lady. She's got to be about 25, just hair all messy, but you could tell she was cute. And, you know, she's just out driving and trying to make some money. And I'm thinking, like, then she says, I say, I'm from Youngstown. She says, oh, I know Youngstown. I say, yeah. She says, my ex-stepfather is from Youngstown. I said, oh, okay. Y'all cool? She says, yes, we good. We real good. He still talks to my mom. And now I got a picture. Remember I said, watch what I said earlier. I said, you from where? She said, Ohio. I said, that makes sense. Right? The smell. That's happening a lot in my hometown. So how did she get this? It seemed to me, I could be wrong, that it was passed down. Now she's immune to what has just made me high. She riding around and like don't smell nothing. And me, I'm gone. I got the munchies. Feed me. What is the power of a church? Watch. Whenever a church starts going crazy, it's because there has been introduced multiple visions. Right? It's subtle. It's Absalom-like, but multiple visions start to take place. Y'all with me? See, a lot of y'all think I don't be paying attention. I pay attention. Sometimes it's not the right moment to address certain things. But I pay attention. When there starts to be two different visions, and when I say something, y'all got to look at somebody else to get their approval before you line up with it, something wrong. So then we have to now go back and revisit a mindset so we can see an outcome. Did that make sense? Got to go revisit the mindset. A lot of people left this church because they had their own vision. Either they thought I was going to marry them, or they had their own vision that I was going to make them the pastor of the church, or that they was going to take over the church, or all various things. Whatever their vision was, That vision created division. If I submit to that vision, I have just now become Ahab, Jezebel's husband. Y'all with me? I can't become Jezebel's husband, or else I stop a move of God that I am responsible for. Glory to God. We good? All right, so we got a few more minutes. I want to do something unique, okay? Madison, come help me, little girl. Do me a favor, hand Kiana that mic. Push me one of those chairs over here, okay? Come on up here, Kiana. Okay, y'all here? So Kiana does a lot with mental health, right? And if you're following her on Instagram, tell them your Instagram.
Oh, Empowered to Heal _LLC.
Empowered to Heal _LLC. You should follow her, okay? One of the things that stopped me, I was on Instagram and she was speaking to the men and she was encouraging men. All right. So I believe that one thing that we need is we need y'all to encourage us. Okay? We need y'all. Y'all need us. We need y'all. So when I heard her say that, I think she called them kings or something. Hey, king. And she said, don't feel defeated or something she was saying, right? And for me, I didn't even recognize it was her. I was just happy about somebody going on there and addressing men with kindness, okay? She wasn't on there flirting with nobody. She was just saying, hey, you need to, feel strong, blah, 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 right? So I called her today and I said, hey, I want you to do this with me as I close this piece out, this lesson out, this portion. Is this family series helping y'all? It is? Great. What you need to do is send people to YouTube to get it. Start sending it out. Just grab it out and send it out. Send it out to every man needs to hear it. Every woman needs to hear it, okay? Start sending it out. Send out what we do tonight. Send this out. It's beneficial, all right? So I wanted to bring Kiana up because she's here, and there's no sense in having this kind of gifting or whatever while we're talking about it and not do it, right? All right. So what we're going to do is talk about how a family can, first of all, Kiana, tell me after, listening at what I'm saying, how do you suggest from a psyche perspective, the mental perspective, how do we begin to frame a mindset which causes...
But through communication, I think affirmations.
Well, why don't you stay on
spouses.
communication first? Stay on communication.
Okay. Well, communication is cultivating the ability and skill to have conversation within the family, and then it's helping your children learn how to have conversations even outside the home. And you can start at a toddler or preschool age, because that's what I did with the girls when Maya was coming out of preschool, Jordan was in kindergarten. Our family dinners were, let's sit down and talk about your day. Now, of course, yes, it includes a lot of nap times and bathroom breaks, but they learned how to talk about their days to the point now in high school, as soon as they get in the car, that's what they want to talk about. and I don't have to ask them or probe them. Like, that's become part of the culture, is having open communication about what's going on in your life. Because when I've done family counseling or worked with adolescents, the main issue is the teenagers feel like, well, I can't talk to my parents. But that started when they were younger. So now as a teenager, when a parent feels like something's wrong, I want you to talk to me, they're like, no, because we didn't talk before when I was 9 and 10. And, so for them, they don't want to talk about their problems when they didn't feel comfortable talking about their triumphs, the things that excited them, the things that interest them. And so it's having that open communication. And same with couples. I always tell couples communication is definitely a strong foundation to strengthen and cultivate and maintain your marriage. Being able to have honest conversations, no judgment, support, affirming, encouraging, and then challenging, knowing when to challenge your partner for the better, not tearing them down. It's okay to say, no, I don't think you should do this way, or this is a critique, but it's to help them be better, not to tear them down or insult them or berate them. And it's the same with the kids, not making them feel like, oh, you act like this, or you act like that, or you act like your daddy, or you act like your mama. Insulting them and making them feel bad for their failures or things that they don't necessarily do well, but being able to focus on strengths of a person.
So the word communication, can y'all tell me what word you see in that? Communion, commune. So that causes communion. Why do we do communion every week? So you can be conscientious. I don't want you to just weigh it, just pass it over. I want you to be conscientious of your relationship with the Lord. Y'all following this? That's why we do communion. So what is that look like? What she's saying, it looks like the same. Okay, now, when they get in the car, you saying, let's break bread and let's drink wine. Right? So you raise them up with the whole, I'll never forget, I used to love communion. Back then we didn't have the little thing, and you had the little cup. Remember that, Dottie? And I remember when they used to prepare it, because my father was the assistant pastor of a church. My mother was she was everything in the church, okay? And so they had this little bottle with the little tip on the end. You remember that? And they would squeeze the juice in there and they get in each cup. Yeah, and then you had to walk real careful, because if you tilt the cup, the blood, the oil, the wine, spill out the juice rather. And I remember I used to love communion time, and I loved it. Now, not because we had wine, we had grape juice, Concord grape juice. It wasn't until I got to my godfather's church where we had wine. Y'all hear me? It was wine. And praise the Lord. But watch this. And then I went to an Episcopal church. This is my first time really drinking wine behind communion. I think they made it fresh. I think they made it, and it was the best tasting wine I had ever. Well, that was the first tasting wine I had ever had. I'll never forget this, Tiffany. When I drank that wine, my whole body lit on fire. I say, this is the fire of the Holy Ghost. Atabasha. But when it went down, it just poof. I ain't had that effect since. But I never forget. Now watch this. In the Episcopal church, they came in and they had the incense and they had this thing going, and they had the sound. It was a pretty powerful Episcopal church, because they did the whole liturgy, but at the same time they went into this praise and worship that would just knock you off your feet. The word was powerful, it was prophetic. They had on these robes and all this kind of stuff. But the point I was making, back to the point, is communion. When we did communion, they didn't have separate cups. They used the same cup and wipe it, turn drink. Wipe it, turn, drink. Okay, why? The point was we won anyhow. And this has the power, catch this, to heal. So if she's got an ailment, by the time she gets it down her system, it can't survive on the cup. Sickness must dry up and die before it ever touches my body. Okay? That's the whole concept of the cup. So if confusion is going to set into the family, it is going to be because there was no communion established with the family. Go ahead. You want to say something? Okay. So, y'all with me? So, everybody say communication. And that's with intention, okay? Because when we have communication, you got to make sure that you don't shut people down. How many times have you seen that? Where a spouse is able to shut another spouse down.
See that a lot.
Okay. Talk about the effects of that.
Because people think that it's okay to berate or insult or downgrade their significant other in a form of correction. Like, oh, I'm checking you, I'm getting you straight based on something that you did that I didn't like. But the reality is they don't realize that that's tearing away at that person. And sometimes for some people, that's a trauma space that you're hitting, because that same person may be receiving that from you, their spouse, but they may have received it during their childhood from their parent or teachers.
Wow, that's incredible.
So it's important to be mindful of, you never know what you're really hitting if you're throwing salt on a wound when you're speaking unkindly to someone that you claim you love.
That's like target that hit the bullseye, because if you've been shut down by a parent who didn't care about you, you end up getting married to that same kind of situation. And what happens is the minute they do it, you recall that. Now you got both situations.
And they're going to react to that, and usually not in a healthy manner. They're going to lash out. They're going to become defensive.
Or shut down.
Right, or shut down. So either way, it's going to cause a break in the relationship. It's going to cause a break. It's going to cause distrust, because now you feel like you can't be safe with this person emotionally, because they're mishandling you in through their words. And so it's being mindful of, how do I cultivate.
What if they don't feel their words are hurting? What if they feel like, I'm just communicating. I'm not trying
Well,
to.
some people, again, a lot of people carry traits from their childhood, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. So sometimes you talk to people a certain way because that's how you grew up. Maybe that's how you were talked to, or you were told that it's okay to talk to people in a certain way. So a lot of times people don't think it's anything wrong. And then if you're part of a family, if your family's all in your business, because I know of situations where wives may talk down to their husbands, and then their mother is co-signing and telling them it's okay. I've had a situation where I've had people come to me in counseling and told me that their therapist told them it was okay to shut their husband down while they were talking. And I was like, okay, that was unethical. But I think that it's a mindset that people don't realize they carry, that no matter what field of work you're doing, what education or knowledge you have access to on how to communicate, if you don't address how you were taught to communicate growing up and how it impacts you as an adult, and you can ask yourself, do the words that come out of my mouth empower people, affirm people, cultivate, positivity, or am I hurting or harming? And that's where you have to do some self-reflection.
So, I'm enjoying this, because it means that you can't just sit there and say, well, you just got to live with it.
Right. We do have to get it out of that mindset. Part of, I feel like why we really need to heal in our families is us getting out of that mindset. Is this is just how we do. This is just how we talk. You know, you got families who are big and we talk loud. Everybody talks loud. Everybody yells. Everybody screams. This is how we talk, but it can hurt and harm people long term, especially if you're dealing with people who are not accustomed to those type of cultures. And then your kids are confused because they hearing the parents argue about which way is the right way to communicate. And so they don't know either, because now they're like, well, this one said it's okay to yell, this one said it's not. So now the kids are confused and they don't know what to do.
Because that trait will just kind of pass.
It's just going
over.
to pass down. It's a generational cycle. So you have to be able to be mindful of taking time to assess, you know, how you grew up, what you were exposed to. And it's not that your childhood has to be bad or traumatic, but you still have to be able to identify how has what I was exposed to, how does it affect me? Like my parents, I grew up in a Christian home. I grew up with my parents. They didn't really do anything. So, but I did notice the different communication styles and how it started to impact like which ways each of us gravitated to more. And my mother's side of the family is the more boisterous, fiery side. And unfortunately, I had a mix of both, but I had to realize growing up in life experiences that everybody wasn't going to be able to be receptive or receiving of the fiery side. So I had to learn how to communicate with all of that extra, you know, and understand that just because I saw that doesn't mean that it made it right. Just because I grew up in a Christian home didn't make it right. It just, now how do I communicate to people and they don't feel like I'm disrespecting them or disregarding their feelings? You know, I used to be big on over talking people. So of course.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, you. Okay. Yeah.
But now I'm better, especially as a therapist. I
What,
had
what,
to
what
learn
do you
how
mean
to listen.
over talking? Like
I could have interrupted you while you were talking, just to try to just talking and over talking you and not allowing you to finish your sentence.
see, I'm that type of person that if you over talk me, I'll shut down. I just be like, okay, you got it. That don't mean that I'm weak.
Right.
It means that now I have a portrait that I never that I painted, and I want the portrait to be different, but now our communication is broken because now here watch this. The next time a problem arises, instead of us talking through it, I'm perceiving you're going to loud talk me and shut me down, which means then I'm going to be quiet before I ever get to that point. Because I don't like to, I'm not the person who likes to yell and all of that kind of stuff. I don't believe there's power in loud.
Right.
I believe there's more power in silence than in loud.
Right.
Does
Which
that-
most men feel that way. So that's where usually the break between men and women come, because most men shut down and will just be quiet and won't say anything. But then they'll feel unheard and feel like their feelings or thoughts don't matter.
So do this put men in a temporary rescue place? Like if they shut down, then what do they do after that moment? Or
Like,
they go and find a temporary rescue?
sometimes, I mean, they do. Some of them, they don't necessarily always go out. Necessarily, it's not always
Yeah, I mean,
out to go out. But I mean, they just won't feel as connected to that person, and they don't want to feel like I can be vulnerable with this person, even though they're my mate.
so one thing about a man is he gives you the opportunity to see his vulnerability once. If he don't think you can handle it, he's not going to give it to you again.
Correct.
Go ahead. You're the mind person.
No, I mean, that's good. That's the reality. A lot of times women struggle with, he won't talk to me. I don't know what's going on with him. And I'm like, it's not that there's nothing going on. It's just that he no longer feels safe. A lot of times when I do couple
Is it safe or
counseling,
respected?
both. Sometimes it's a mixture of both. Sometimes it's one or the other. But most of the time, it's both. Um, and so a lot of times, even when I do couples therapy, I give everybody an opportunity to talk, listen to the other person. If you got to take notes, that's fine. And then you respond. We're not doing arguing, because I know when I first started out in therapy, I remember I got scared of doing couples therapy, because I had this one therapist, she would just let the couples come in and just have it out, and they yelling and screaming. I said, we in the office. Like, but I was like, I don't want, what's the point? They're doing that at home, and they're here to change that narrative, so don't keep giving them the same atmosphere to do what they do at home, because then they're still walking away in the same space. So it's teaching, I teach the couples, how do you talk and listen and respond, not react. And so a lot of guys like, this is the first therapist I got to talk. I got to say what was on my mind, because they usually just let her talk, and then they kind of go in on me, and then that's it. And I'm like, no, everybody gets to talk, because sometimes even women will be like, I didn't know he felt that way. I didn't know he was thinking that. I didn't know that what I did made him feel that way. So it's eye-opening for people to understand, when you just give yourself the opportunity to sit, and this is just with any relationship, if you give yourself an opportunity to just sit and listen to what the person is saying and not focus on preparing your response, because sometimes we get so focused on preparing our rebuttal that we're not hearing a person's heart. So a lot of times I always tell people, listen to the person's heart while they're talking to you.
And that's a good point, because if I listen to your heart, then chances are my rebuttal I will get rid of.
Right.
I don't need to keep a mental note of what I was going to say when you said that.
Right.
Because if I can hear your heart, chances are I'm going to hear something different.
Right.
Rebuttal is rebuttal, and it means to destroy you from your comment. So it's like a debate. One of us got to win.
Right.
Instead of us winning, somebody's got to win. And so I'm going to walk away from this the victor. I shut him down, or I shut her down, and that kind of thing becomes a problem. And when your kids see that, guess what they grow up doing?
The same thing.
They feel like the man. My mama, she was strong. She was a strong woman. And guess what she did? She shut him down. So I got to shut him down. And this, that, and the other. Y'all follow? And I like to tell, we can have more conversation about this all day long. I think y'all enjoying this? But one of the things that I've learned is that me mastering the art of communication, or mastering the art of understanding, okay, which means stop and listen to the other person's stand. What's their stance? Come under their stand. How do you stand on this matter? Come under that, which means now instead of hearing, you hear and listen. And when you begin to listen, then you now don't have a bunch of rebuttal, because what happens is in listening, healing can take place. Right? And not reflect listening. I know some people who listen and they'll say, I hear you. But the next day they'd be like, you know what you said yesterday? And they ready to go to war with you. And you sitting there like, I thought we was in a healing place, because I went home and went to bed, and now we wake up with this same battle at a different level, and I'm caught off guard, so I ain't even ready. Right? Princella busts out like, I ain't even ready for you. That's another thing we ready to when we do our arguing, and this is at home. I'm not worried about boyfriend, girlfriend, and all that. I'm talking about in the house. What we end up doing is, okay, I'm gonna catch him when he ain't looking. I'm gonna get her when she ain't even there. And before you know it, it's like Wait a minute. Whoa. Did you put anything in my food? Because you caught them while they at the table, you know. You're like, I thought we were good. And the worst feeling is to think everything is good and you get hit. The turn on that can be more dangerous. The venom that can come out as a result of that can be more dangerous than just creating a mindset, a communicable mindset. What do you think? Okay, so everybody, I think the thing we leave with tonight as far as how do we, even in the extent in our families, like, you know, Sharice is not married and Sharice has her brother and her family, right? I have my family, I'm not married. You got all of these kinds of things. How do you begin the process of reunifying, or creating a unit again? Right? Y'all with me? I remember my uncle was an alcoholic, and Uncle Billy, he'll tell you about it, so I can say his name. But Uncle Billy was just a guy who, for many, many years, he hasn't drank 30-something years. Thank God. He's ain't been drinking and all. But he was the uncle that would say, I was driving and that tree just ran out in the middle of the street. I used to laugh at Uncle Billy. But Uncle Billy, my mother tried all her heart. He would come over the house and y'all don't love me. You know, drink, cause that alcohol talking. Y'all don't love me. You supposed to be my sister. And you don't love me. And she would say, listen here, my kids in this house, you're going to respect my house. You're not going to question my love for you, but you're going to respect this house. And my father's name, Ben, right? She say, and you better hope Ben don't come home and see this, right? What she was skillful in doing was keeping her house intact and causing my uncle to say, I got to fall under these roofs. He'd say, well, let me get on up out of here because I ain't come to start no trouble. I love you. Y'all know how they are when they drunk, right? Okay. Mastering the home starts with communication. Mastering a relationship that can be a relationship starts with communication. Don't lay down all your rules. Right? What you think? I'm going to say this and then you can add.
You mean like rules of the relationship, or?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I think that I believe, and I've seen this over and over again, that before you lay down your rules, you should sit and listen. You should see if those things, if it's compatible. If it's not, then step. Unless you're married, then you got to figure this out. But you can't be sitting there with 10 rules and, you know, I just love God and we go pray every night. Don't no man want to hear that we go pray every night. Right? Seriously. You got to be.
No.
I mean, you know, the whole deep thing come into play. See, watch me. Deep living can cover up your natural self, which shows up after deep living is no longer permitted. Y'all follow that? So keep that in mind as we move further, okay? Amen? All right. Any questions? Y'all can ask her. Yes, ma'am.
Oh yes. We didn't promote this, or at least I know even growing up, the focus was, oh, hurry up and get married, but nobody talked about making sure you're healed, and you address what you got going on inside of you before you try to get in alignment with your a spouse, right? So being able to work on yourself, so that's something definitely I promote now, like work on yourself. And that's for men and women, because people overlook the fact that men endure a lot of the same traumas that women do, including sexual abuse, right? In our African American community. So we have to be mindful that we can't just assume because of gender or because of the family, history of someone, where they come from, or, that means they didn't endure any type of traumas, or they don't have anything to heal from. Now, everything may not be things that they need to heal from their childhood. It could have been previous experiences before they met you, because traumas come in different forms. Trauma events range differently. For some people, trauma is a car accident versus abuse, or it could be severe loss and grief. So it's understanding and having those conversations. A lot of times I encourage, especially the men, have conversations. Like when you think you're getting to a point with someone that you're dating, start to talk about like family history, or are you working on anything within yourself? Are there things that you need to work on within yourself? What are you doing? And I actually, I always say, look, it's okay to ask them, what do you think about therapy? That's the casual way to see what a person's thought process is about therapy. Do they accept or reject that idea? Are they open to it? Are they doing it themselves? Because it helps you understand and gauge, like, what is the internal work this person is doing for themselves. Because I always tell people, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you guys are both bringing in your own sets of baggage. And you need to know what that baggage is in order to know what you're going to be dealing with. And mental health really needs to be a more prevalent topic in dating. Because some people are diagnosed with bipolar. If you're bipolar, you need to be honest with someone. I know you may not want to tell all your business, but the reality is, whoever you're with, they're going to have to deal with some things with you when it comes to that condition. And they need to be able to know how to handle it, or make the decision if they want to. When I talk to the guys about, because they like, oh, women get mad if I lie about this, but I was protecting them. I said, but the reality is, for women, we will take and accept a lot. I said, but we it's only when we're given the opportunity to choose if we're going to take that. If we choose we want to take certain things or deal with certain baggage, that's fine, because you presented it to me. I had an opportunity to make a sound decision on if I want to marry you knowing you got 10 baby mamas, then that's my choice. But don't tell me you got 3 and then you're going to tell me about the other 7 after we get married. And then you're going to wonder why I'm so mad. Like, it's about the choice to be able to say, I know what you're carrying. I know what I'm carrying. Do you think this is going to be a match? Are we going to be able to work together and heal together? And, I've had a lot of people ask me questions about, being in a relationship and someone that's going through their healing process. The question has been, can you help a person heal? And I say, not really. I said, what you can do is walk with them in that journey, and you have to be willing to exercise a lot of patience and understanding the phases of the healing journey and being very supportive. But if you feel like it's too much for you to handle, you may have to pull away. But you can't make somebody heal. You can't navigate their healing for them. You can't dictate the timeline of it, because you don't really know what all they need to heal from, because it's an unpacking process. So, it's just things like that to be mindful of. We can talk about this all day, so I'm not going to go on. But yeah. Okay. But so yeah, that's I guess the ending of the family series, or at least for tonight. So my company is Empowered to Heal. As I said before on Instagram, I'm Empowered to Heal _ LLC, or you can look me up by Kiana Howell on Facebook as well. And that's pretty much it. Oh, it's QIANA. Thank you. No, you. And so, yeah, you can contact me. I do have a website, empoweredtoheal.info, where you can learn more about me. You can also schedule appointments. I do free consultations. I do specialize working with male clients, but I do a lot of couples work as well. So, yeah, that's who I am. Thank you.
Thank you. We thank Sister Kiana. Love it. And we'll do this again. I appreciate you. Thank you online. This is our time for offering tithes or seed. Feel free to go ahead and take care of that now. If you're online, that information should be coming up on the screen for you. And Embassy Family In-House, there's a QR code, a card on the back of your seat that will have that giving information as well. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. On behalf of Apostle B. Dwayne Harding, we just thank you for coming out tonight. We had a great crowd, great conversation. We will do it again, and this is great for those who are in relationships or desire to have a healthy relationship. Take heed. The information has been provided. She provided her contact information, so we're equipped, and we are being equipped to be better. So thank you for being willing participants in this journey. That's it. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to say the closing prayer. Repeat after me. The Lord, come on. We don't say may, so Lord, and keep the Lord and give you shalom, shalom. Amen. Amen. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We love you. Have a good night.